Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Oscar Radame.
And I'm Christine Galvan. Channel 5's Trayson Bragg reported on a similar complaint last week. Today, he followed up by taking both complaints to the local housing authority.
We showed you the story of a woman with disabilities whose rights were violated last week. She was kicked out of the Garden Apartments in Farr for fighting for her right to use disabled parking spaces. We now learned she isn't alone. Strong bonds appear when you least expect them. Maria Salinas says she met her friend Maria Flores when they were neighbors at the Garden Apartments in Farr.
We get along real good because she's disabled and so am I, so we bonded.
Well, now the women have a bit more in common. Both Marias were kicked to the curb by the apartment complex. Both feel their rights were violated in the process. Salinas says she was asked to leave after a toilet clog.
Because of the toilet and that I had used foul language toward her workers and that I'm constantly bothering people.
Salinas denies using the foul language. She says she later received this letter from property management giving her 30 days to leave the premises. We headed to speak to property management. She denied an on-camera interview but informed us that Salinas' housing authority was well aware of and okay with the situation. We headed to their offices.
Because of confidentiality protection rules, we cannot talk about a particular tenant of ours.
Noel De Leon is the executive director of the Farr Housing Authority. He tells us the apartments who partner with his office for the Section 8 housing program are only able to evict tenants for violating lease agreements. He says his office would open an investigation if there was any other reason.
We'll go and investigate, and we'll talk to the and we will be on the side of our tenant every single time if that is happening, and we'll get that corrected.
De Leon says that's only after a tenant reports the injustice to his office. He tells us that investigation could lead to a termination in partnership if the facts support the violation claim.
The landlord from participating in our program, and yes, we would ask any other tenant that we had under our program to look for another place, to give notice and look for another place.
De Leon says his department can only fight for tenants who report a problem. He says his office's phone lines are always open. Salinas tells us she's found a new home. She says she's planning on filing a suit against her former apartment. In the studio, Trayson Bragg, Channel 5 News at 10.